And here is the result, the 3T Explorer RaceMax. As you can see, we have quite a tight-fitting rear wheel cutout, but because we know the exact tire radii that we want to use in this bike, we still have enough clearance for the mud. Again, also on the front, we have a pretty tight clearance between the down tube and the front tire. We look at the down tube itself. As you can see, it's quite massive at the bottom portion of it, so it is the width matching the water bottle that sits behind it, so it fully shields the water bottle. As you look higher up, it narrows down to 46 millimeters wide, which is perfect to take up that airflow that comes off of that 35 to 40 millimeter front tire, whether it's a big road tire or a gravel tire. Also, the depth of the down tube changes from size to size. So on the smaller sizes, it's not quite as deep. So the ride isn't as harsh, because you often get that with smaller frames, that they get more and more vertically stiff. So by reducing that depth, we counterbalance that. Then you see the chainstays dropped. So both chainstays are dropped for more stiffness, more tire clearance. We have direct mount front and rear for the brake calipers. So without any adapters, you just mount the calipers directly onto the frame, and it's set correctly for 160 millimeter rotors. The through axles, front and rear, are Synthes, because it's really the best system out there. We haven't gone for some lever design or some semi-dropout design, which yes, may be a second faster when you have a flat tire, but it's better just to not have any flat tires and have a good tubeless setup than to give up half your stiffness just because maybe sometimes you want to save a second. Maybe the thing I'm most proud of, the head tube. So when you look at the dimensions of the head tube, it's really a pure road bike head tube. So it's dimensioned for basically a 1 1/8 to 1 1/4 inch steerer, but in fact the steerer that's inside of it is 1 1/8 to 1 1/2. So there's a big steerer inside it, but the head tube's still small, and we do that with a custom bearing. And so the advantages there is that the head tube's narrow for aerodynamics, the steerer is big for stiffness and strength, and that custom bearing that we make, even though it looks small, it still has the same load bearing capacity as a normal 1 1/2 inch headset. Also, the axle to crown distance of this fork is 370 millimeters, and that's the same as a normal road bike. We do that by having quite a minimal crown, and so that distance, that length of the fork, is about 1 inch less, 25 millimeters less than it would be on a gravel bike. And so by doing that, by having a pure road fork length, the whole geometry for steering and everything can be much more road-like. We have fender mounts front and rear hidden in the system, and just lots and lots of little details. The Ritchie system for the saddle clamp, which has basically become the standard. It's really completely hassle-free. A hidden self-adjusting angle for the clamp here, so with those lower loads you have better seat post clamping. Really details all over the place, but when you ride it, I think you'll be quite surprised. It's very fast, very smooth, and a very different experience.